Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here. Today we're going to be reviewing part 2 of the Monster of Peladon. This is of course the first time I've ever watched Monster of Peladon. It was sent to me recently by one of my patrons, Unknown Don't Trust Numbers. And it's nice to be able to watch it as it's one of only 3 Pertwee stories I haven't seen yet. And of course I've seen Curse of Peladon several times. So it's nice to revisit Peladon. Even though I still kind of feel like the story is just kind of retreading Curse of Peladon, to be honest. But I'm enjoying it. I still haven't figured out if the Queen's right-hand man is a traitor or not, kind of like the guy in Curse was, or if he's just really in error in his thinking about the Doctor. I liked part 2. Again, I enjoy Sarah. She's so strong-willed in this, and plus I love her leather jacket. Just her ensemble, her look in this story is really good. I love that leather jacket she's running around in. I love how as soon as she realizes the Doctor's in trouble, she like darts off to go check on him. That's very Sarah Jane. Jo would have done the same thing. And then of course when she gets knocked out trying to pound on the door, and then the other guy and Alpha Centauri have to go rescue her. I like Alpha Centauri in this. She really is getting like some character development, which I enjoy. I felt like she does a lot of good here. I understand Alpha Centauri's motivations, that, you know, a threat to herself, or himself. I keep forgetting, since I guess because Alpha's voiced by a woman, I keep wanting to say her. You know, he's not really afraid of a threat to himself, but he, you know, when they threaten Sarah is when Alpha works the gadgets to open the armory. You know, and then of course feels bad about it later. So I really like Alpha in this. And then when she's imploring the Queen to try to help the Doctor and Sarah at the end, how she convinces the Queen, you know, a lot of traditions have changed on Peladon. Maybe this is one of those that need to change, when the Queen's like, you know, I can't do anything. And that look, that kind of smile on the Queen's face when she's like, you know, you're right, that kind of smile she gets. Still not sure on the Queen's acting. But that could be because she is a child. You know, she's supposed to be basically a child on the throne, so that kind of explains the kind of naive look she has and kind of her indecision. She is young to be on the throne, so that kind of works. And I like that little hopeful smile when she's listening to Alpha Centauri. That was really nice. Again, where it picks up from the cliffhanger from part 1 is really good, because I did like the cliffhanger from part 1. It's pretty neat effects there. I like the fact the Doctor's not believing any of it. This is all technical nonsense. You know, this isn't, you know, the creature running around. And how the Doctor is doing what the Doctor does. He's trying to take control of the situation and explain, look, you people need to stop fighting, you're going to make it worse. Like when he's talking to the miners, the Doctor feels like the Doctor. Unlike, you know, the Doctor we just had recently the past few years, who constantly feels behind and not in control of situations. The third Doctor, anytime he's talking to the miners, he basically is like, you guys need to listen to me. I can help you, but you have to listen. He has this very authoritative power. It's hard to explain. Not everybody listens to him, but you know, if you meet the third Doctor, and you listen to him talk, you know, I think most people should catch on pretty quick. We need to listen to this dude. He knows what he's talking about. He's very good at giving off that vibe. And I'm still loving that green jacket of his in this. It just looks fantastic. That man has such a sense of style. The story is progressing fine. I'm trying to think if there's really anything to comment story-wise that really jumped out to where I'm remembering it. Again, the Doctor trying to head off a civil war between the miners and the nobles. The one guy who's the Queen's right-hand man, again, I can't figure out if he's a bad guy or if he's just making errors in judgment. And then there's also the one guy who's kind of the engineer, the guy kind of in the black jumpsuit that looks like a younger version of the guy who plays Major Krennic in Rogue One, who's also in Captain Marvel, who's also in Dark Knight Rises. I never remember his name. Looks like a really young version of him. I can't decide whether he's a good guy or not. He seems like a pretty good guy, although he was a bit indecisive when Alpha Centauri was trying to convince the Queen that Sarah wasn't working with the rebels. I mean, he was like, you know, it's unlikely, but So he's like kind of on our side, but not 100%. So I haven't quite figured out if he's a good guy or if he's going to be one of those guys that, you know, turns out to be a prick. I haven't decided on him yet. I know, obviously, I know the Ice Warriors in this. I don't know if they're villains in this or if they're just in this. I know they show up at some point, which, I mean, they weren't the villains in Curse. I think that's the lesson of Curse, is that they're not the villains. And even the Doctor had that wrong, because the Doctor thinks they're the villains. To me, that's the big lesson of Curse. So I hope they don't go back on that here, but we'll see. I'm curious to see how it's going to progress from here. We know somebody's instigating things. There's somebody behind the curtain pulling the strings. That's not really a good analogy, is it? But you guys know what I mean. So I'm curious to find out more about that. But I like part 2. The cliffhanger was a little weak to me. I mean, I saw it coming a mile away, but it was a little weak to me. But I am looking forward to it. I'm enjoying the story thus far. I really enjoyed the first 2 parts and found it, you know, just as much as I enjoyed Curse. So, and I'm not one of those people that think Curse is like one of Pertwee's top 5 stories. Like, I'm not one of those people, you know, when somebody's like, I've never seen the 3rd Doctor, I'm not like, well, you need to go see Curse of Peladon. That's not the first one out of my mouth, you know. But, you know, it's a good story. And that's kind of how I feel about Monsters so far. But I'm living for Sarah Jane in it. I'm living for Sarah Jane. So, what do you think of part 2 of Monster of Peladon? Comment down below and let me know. Other things to do. Click the like button and the subscribe button. That helps me out. My goal is to reach 1,000 subscribers in 2023. So I appreciate everyone who enjoys my channel. Go ahead and click that button. Don't forget to click that like button. That helps me out with the YouTube algorithm. I also have a Patreon that helps me keep bills paid if you enjoy what I do and want to support what I do. There's a link to that down in the description below. All sorts of little goodies there. Different tiers do different things. Early access to a lot of videos and so on. I also have a P.O. box, which, much like this DVD, was sent to me by one of my subscribers. If anyone wants to send me anything to look at and review, and a link to my Amazon wish list is down there as well. I want to give a shout out to some of my top tier patrons, Stephen Crane, Colin Coney, and Perkins. I appreciate their support, as I do the support of all of my patrons. And of course, a shout out to Unknown Don't Trust Numbers, because I very much appreciate him sending me this DVD. I've been wanting to see this one for a while now. Most importantly, thank you for watching.